Okay, we're doing Sif Yud. This is a fascinating Sif, and again, the concept of Chol Hamoed is so great. Where did I say that? Did I say that in this shir? That the reason you're allowed to cook on Yom Tov is so that the food should be fresh? Right? What? Okay. On Yom Tov, the reason I have to cook is so it should be fresh. Now, the word Tavlinin in the Paiskim and what we call Tavlinin are not the same thing. This is a fascinating thing, and even though that's true, there's something about it which I don't really get. Tavlinin in Chazal we call a batzal a tavlin. It's there to give flavor. In other words, you don't eat onions unless you're a Russian, but regular people don't eat onions. It's just a tavlin. It's not right. No, it's there. Perhaps in modern society we call it a condiment. It's there to enhance that which you're eating, just like salt. But the tavlinim which they had were fresh. Our tavlinim that we have are all dried out powders, because we don't have real tavlinim. The only tavlinim which I could think of that people have that are something like fresh, no, that's not, are like there are people who have nana, that they go to their chatzer and they cut some nana and they put it in. Or there's some people who have what? Petrushka. No, that's not fresh. People have petrozilia, the white root, right? Petrozilia also, right? But yeah, those things. But those also, I didn't take those also because I have a problem with this halacha.
You mean by fresh mean that you picked it yourself?
No, that its shelf life is short. That's what I mean by that. That's my subject over here. That's the subject of the sif. Right. In other words, like these white carrots, what they're called, parsnip, right? Or celery root. These are what are called tavlinim in Chazal, but they last a month. They're not. You don't need them fresh, right? Your onions could last the whole season. You don't need them fresh. Yet the halacha which we're speaking about over here, speak about tavlinim, which I don't know. No, I don't have a problem understanding what the halacha is saying. I don't know what we have that you need tavlinim fresh. No, as your pepper mill, that's not fresh. It's old, and you're just finishing it off. Your garlic, I'm asking to the following statement: if you buy garlic which comes around Pesach time, fresh, it actually tastes different and better than it does if you buy the Chinese version, which was from 1875. Right? It tastes different, and when you cook with it, it actually reacts different. But it's more or less the same thing. It's just a inferior thing to it. But here, I'm saying this halacha is the focus is we're talking about things which it's muvan me'elav, that they are perishable items. Okay? It used to be, and I feel very old because if I tell this to my kids, my younger kids, they wouldn't believe me. We used to go to, when I was a little kid, you'd go to the butcher and he had chickens and he had fish, and you picked the chicken and you picked the fish, and that was the end. They shechted it. They took the fish, they clapped it over the head. What? No, it's it's illegal. Yeah. It became illegal. Yeah. Now it used to be, and I think about it. Perhaps you go to places like Yesh, Rami Levi, or things like that. There still is a fresh poultry that they have. It's not shechted there, but it's sometimes you get more or less fresh fish fished yesterday or the day before. It was at least fished one day. But it's not like it used to be. But there was a time that there were things that were called perishables. And I say this over because it's so unbelievably different from when I came to Eretz Yisrael till today. When I came to Eretz Yisrael, it was unheard of to buy bread for tomorrow today. There's no such thing. First of all, they didn't have sliced bread. They only had a lechem or chatzi lechem, lavan or shachar. You remember this? What? You weren't here then? You know what I'm talking about? Sort of. Okay. But
I was in yeshiva. I wasn't buying someone's bread.
Yeah, no, it was a whole different experience. Every day you went to buy bread and milk. You never went to buy bread or milk for tomorrow, except for Shabbos. And now this halacha says as follows: Moichrei Tavlinin o yerek v'chol davar she'eino miskayim. Okay. Poischin u'moichrim kedarkom b'far hesya. You're allowed to sell them b'far hesya. Why? Because it's muvan me'elov that it's for Yom Tov, because you don't buy this in advance. You don't stock up. This is not a Costco deal, right? You don't stock up. You buy it for right away because they're highly perishable. Shakol yodim shein Chol Hamoed. Lamed Gimel says in Mishnah Berurah, v'achronis gimel dehu adin moichrei b'samim dav shu davar hamiskayim kiven de nikar dehu Chol Hamoed. V'imkein kiven de poischon tzarich Yisrael afilu ba nochri liknois mutar limkor loy. Now this is a important nekuda because this explains that which we said last week. We said the business of buying and selling that comes with all kinds of tircha. It's not the individual person's tircha. There's a the accounting part of this. It's a the esek. Yeah, that's a good word. It's an esek. But if you have the esek opened anyways to sell to some guy who happened to come in, that's not a problem, because there is no malacha that you're doing for the guy. You're not right. That's the nekuda.
Why does it have to be so specifically for Yom Tov? As long as you can say it's for Yom Tov in any form, why shouldn't that be enough?
There's a reason. There's a reason why they have Gehenna and Gan Eden, because you can't fool Hashem. What do you mean you could say?
I was just bring from Shevi'is. You could sell things that will most likely be used for something you can't use them for Shevi'is, but as long as you have some excuse that it could be used for something mutter, you can sell it.
All right. What is the issue of the mission in Shevi'is that you're talking about?
You're helping someone do something wrong.
Lifnei Iver. Huh? What is the issue over here that we're talking about? That you should not be selling. There's different subject. I am not allowed to sell if I live in a Goyish neighborhood. I'm not allowed to sell, have my store open. In other words, if I have a store in downtown Tennessee, okay, I'm just not Nashville, okay, I'm not allowed to have it open on Chol Hamoed, even though it's selling food, perishable. You know why? Because you can't say it's a Chol Hamoed if there's nobody that's Shemer Shabbos there within the 50 miles. You can't, it's not. The issue isn't because you're being machshel the buyer. Perhaps there's an issue if a person is allowed to buy something in a store that's open to Isser and he needs it. If you're allowed to buy that, that's a different story, which maybe we'll touch on that today. But that halacha, as I said, parrots, could you please me a favor? Give me a Zroyim Chazon Ish. It's in the second row, about the fourth shelf down. Chazon Ish and Zroyim. I would just like to read this Chazon Ish because it's very important. And after this, thank you. After this Chazon Ish, you'll understand why your question isn't a question. I don't know why you don't know this Chazon Ish Bal Peh, Just joking. What? Venira. How are you allowed to sell something to somebody who may be over on Shevi'is? Venira. The hode kilu chachamim besafik. Afagav the safik lifnei iver is vaday aser because it's a safik deraisa. The Ritva says not like this. Hayiroi lahachmir besveikas. Mishum and the reason is, this is fascinating. This is when you have to be a gadol b'Yisrael. Okay, anybody would like to apply for the job, I'm going to tell you what your question you have to answer. Mishum dimbanu lahachmir besveikas. If we will be machsher, let's look at the big picture. Nase michshol shenimna chesed v'darki chayim v'sholom me'atzmeinu u'mehem. We are going to become perverted from living a proper, just life, and we're not going to do chesed with them. V'hem rak amaratzim. They're only amaratzim. V'chayavim anachnu l'achyoisom u'leheitim imam. So if you're going to be machmer on safek lifnei iver, so you're going to be nichshol and not doing a chesed, a person you're going to do a chesed with. So what's the chumrah? Which way? Anybody? Any gedalim here? Any gedalim here? Let's continue. The kol shekain shelo laharba sino v'tacharus b'neinu b'neihem v'oivrim alay sisnes achicha. Pretty serious. So to be machmer, basic nicht. Which is the chumrah? To be machmer is the chumrah, or to be mekel is the chumrah? I don't know. That's why I'm not from the Gedolim. I have to answer this question.
So why wouldn't that apply also to chumrah? If you're not going to sell the onions because you could have done it before.
When I have my store closed, nobody's bothering me. They're trying to save them from being over the Isser. Etc. Which you should hit your son, but you can't hit your son because maybe he's going to hit you back. So sometime, because of lifnei iver, right? So because of lifnei iver, sometimes we say, don't hit him. Sometimes they say, you have to hit him, right? Hilchos shiklu chazal bepeles. They weighed it out. Ad kama yesh lisnaheg v'liknois v'limshoch yedeinu mehem. How much we have to slap them on the wrist, and how much we have to fine them. V'shaloi nigram michsholim yoser gedolim lohem v'lanu. Not only us, it's them. Okay, v'chreinu, and they were machriya lesa limkor bezman shu vaday avera ulahate besofik. Now here comes the Chazon Ish's own editorial. V'zer uderech hamemutzav hayishara. This is the golden shvil. Okay? Hey, Kedai? I made it all up here, you're not going to find it.
So you have my local food store.
1 second. If my store is closed...
My local food store, he's also selling lettuce and shamir and perishables, and he's also selling potatoes. So can he sell all of them?
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, we'll discuss that shortly. But here, in other words, so the bottom line is when you're selling already, and you're selling beheter, so you could even have a guy buy from you. Why? Because the Isser wasn't the kinyan and the commerce in itself. It's the michlol that it has. All right. Okay. Yud Aleph. Moichre Peres Ksus V'Kelim Moichre B'Tzina L'Tzorech HaMoed. I would like to share with you a rabbinical issue that only exists here in Eretz Yisrael and doesn't exist in America. And as was just mentioned before, sometimes which is the chumrah, which is the kula, I'm not really sure. In America, I say as follows: Chol Hamoed in America is mostly chol and very little moed. In Eretz Yisrael, it's much more moed than it is chol. Again, 25 years ago, not even when I came to Eretz Yisrael, there was no such thing as a makolet that was open after 10 o'clock in the morning. No such thing. What? In the morning.
During Chol Hamoed.
On Chol Hamoed. On Chol Hamoed, there was no such thing.
So the market's also frozen.
It was not business as usual. Okay, now today it's unusual business, but but whatever, the things have changed. But the bottom line is that these are the halachas you're talking about, and I get asked this question every Chol Hamoed countless times. I don't always answer it the same way. I ran out of clothing. Can I wash my clothing? So the rabbis in America say, so buy new. Now, I want to tell you something. I'm not being asked the question right now, so I could be honest. Okay? If I were to ask you how many shirts you have, do you know? What? You think you do know? Okay.
Enough to go through Chol Hamoed.
Okay, as I'm saying, even whether you do or you don't have enough to go through Chol Hamoed, you could buy another shirt or two and nothing. We're not living in the times of Chazal that buying a new shirt was a big deal. Right? What? It's not a big shirt. It's not. You had to get it made. It wasn't. It's just, you just go to the store and buy a shirt, right? So you ask a rabbi, a good rabbi in America, you'll ask him, what do I do? Should I go and buy a new shirt? Buy new socks. I ran out of socks. As I said when I was a kid, my heart bleeds borscht. So go and buy new socks. What's the big deal? They don't have the Argyle ones that you want exactly.
Why is it going shopping better than washing your clothes?
You answer that question. We just spent 20 minutes on this question. The act of commerce isn't the problem. Washing clothes is an Issa D'oraisa that needs a heter. Right? So a good rabbi will say, go and buy new. Now obviously the guy needs a new suit, obviously, but and a lady needs a new dress. It's not the same thing as you need a new shirt and a pair of pants. Right? That's 3 days of Chol Hamoed in itself to get that dress. Right? But actually, you have to. So in classical halacha, it'll say that if you have only one beged, so you should wash it. There are many places that say "Zelo kashur lahayom." That's not the Metzias, and whatever. I'm right now discussing it on a theoretical level. In Eretz Yisrael, you can't say that because the stores are closed. Now, 1 second. Now, fascinating question. What do you mean the stores are closed? Go to the mall. Okay. There's an answer to that question. Many places can say that being that they're not allowed to be opened, you're not allowed to buy from them. Now.
But if you're allowed to buy, they can be open to service.
So this is an introduction to the halacha we're going to see. In America, there's no shortage of Goyish stores, right? That's not. I'm not going to tell the Goodwill to be closed on Chol Hamoed, right? There's no shortage of stores that are open that have no problem. Now let's see over here this halacha. Mochrei Peiros Lakewood, called Walmart.
Mm-hmm. Target.
Right? I don't know if you know. I don't know if you ever. Yeah. Not everything has to be bought in somebody's garage. You could even pay sales tax. Kol shayach, right? Anyways, moichrei peiros v'ksus v'kelim, and all these things a person needs them for the Chag. Moichrom betzina letzarech hamoed. The things which were mentioned in the halacha beforehand, you're allowed to sell them b'farhasya. Why? Because they're muvan me'elav, the perishable things, and you're selling them for now. These things, well,
The populace ran out of their stuff.
they not ran out, they need them.
Right. Not the seller, the consumer.
The consumer, these are things daily, these are daily.
You can buy it every day.
So muvan me'elav. So milas muvan me'elav, having your store open is not an affrontment to Chol Hamoed, because your store open is for Yom Tov. To service the Yom Tov, not the Yom Tov. Always your store is open to service people. Whereas the clothing store, it's to service the people, not the moed, because you don't need to buy a suit every day. So here, even if you're selling it l'tzorech hamoed, it demands that it be done b'tzina. Opening up, that's a chilul hamoed.
So
Even though you're doing the same business, it's not a question of volume.
So if I run out of shirts, I can call my friend who has it in his basement, or Machsan, say, could you open for me?
100%. You're allowed to, and not only that, today somebody tells me that you don't have a shirt. I say, in America, buy it on Amazon, you'll have it by tomorrow morning. Right? What? Earlier. You have it before you even click, right? It's already, you already have it. Okay, Echsho.
You have to make sure the seller knows.
Yeah, this is true. I actually had such a thing with something from Amazon or something like that, and this is a cousin of mine who was selling it in Lakewood. Whatever, something really happened. Anyways, lo mashana. But this is the halacha. Moichi peiros ksus v'kelim moichro b'tzinu tzorech hamoed. Now, how do you do this? If it was opened not in the main thoroughfare of traffic, in other words, it's not there where everybody sees it, because you're not going to necessarily get business. You have it partially open. You have it partially open. And the reason for this is so that you have a hecker in the way that it's being open, that you're not really open for business. You're only here for those who need to buy. I was on my way here, I was in a store, and I came to the counter to buy, and the two fellows who worked there, somebody else came in, and he said those great words, "We're closed." Right, we're closed. And one door was open and one door was closed. I don't know if you noticed. In the store, we came in, there was only one door open. There's the other doors, but they already closed them. So we got in under the wire. When you walk by, you have to check to see if it really is open. So this is already today's place, and they discuss this. How do you do this nowadays? Have one open, one closed? It's a technical question, but the concept over here is you're not allowed to make a bizayin hamoed. I'd just like to share with you, it's a different sector of halacha, which we'll learn about it later. There's a great discussion about writing on Chol Hamoed. I personally write on Chol Hamoed. If I have things that I'm learning to write, if I don't write it, then it's not going to happen. And I was someplace once, and there's a Talmid Chacham there, and he said to me, "No, if you have to write on Chol Hamoed, perhaps you have to. But for Hesya?" So I said, "What's the price?" He said, "Why do I see your pen in your pocket?" Well, there's a concept over here that's called, it's vochadik. No, you're not open for business as usual. I don't use my pen as usual. All right? Anyways.
Just one. So if someone would ask you if they're selling shirts, if they're allowed to open up and they sell a shirt store for a couple hours in the morning. Is there a question? Just no, maybe?
I would ask the fellow, why are you one open?
I know people want to buy.
No. That's not the reason. You know why people want to buy? Because it's open. right? Now, you're talking about when he's on the main drag or something like that, right? But I don't think, I believe that to a certain extent some of these halachas are not really so correct. When I say correct today, it means the reality of the situation is not. I don't think that it's lucrative to have your store open if you're only going to sell to people that halachically have a heter to buy. I don't think so. What do you think?
Most people are taking care of what they need to ahead of time, like they should.
I'm saying, and how many people is it that's going to be stuck in a lurch that it's worthwhile for you to be open for a few hours? If you're a Baal Chesed, well, maybe. But you have to do it in a way that makes it not, that it's not open for business. Okay.
Aren't you allowed to also open if you're going to need the money for Yom Tov?
Perhaps, but that's a whole different story. What are you allowed to do? When are you allowed to do that? Maybe we'll discuss that shortly. Okay. The Erev Yom Tov Achron Shel Chag HaSukkos Moitzi U'Ma'ater Hashuk B'Peres B'Shil Koved Yom Tov. You're allowed to go all out Koved Yom Tov, even though that there's work, but it doesn't matter because the purpose is Koved Yom Tov. And here's the Ramah is a fascinating thing. Umuter Liknas Etzarech Yom Tov Sheini Shel Yom Tov Achron. Now this is a very problematic halacha. I'm going to start with this halacha because this halacha needs explanation. Take a look at the Mishnah Berurah Lamites. Ein Chedush Rabbi Akiva Eiger Da'afilu Lasas Malacha Gemura. In other words, we were just right now talking about selling, which we just said selling is not a real deal, so to speak. Kigoy levashel tzarich Yom Tov Sheini gam kein shari. Why is it mutter to cook a Chol Hamoed for Yom Tov Sheini?
For Yom Tov Achron Rishon.
For that's for sure also.
What? Yeah,
That's for
sure.
sure also. That is also.
So
That
what
is-
is he saying you're doing?
You have Yom Tov on
Second in circus, you're cooking for
you're cooking on the 6th day of Pesach for Achron.
Okay. That's awesome.
Can I cook on the 5th day for the 6th day?
Yes.
On that one, the 6th day for the 7th?
I didn't say the 6th or 7th. I said 6th for the 8th.
Oh, 6
for
for
the
the
8th.
Achron.
Right? And we're saying this.
Is
I wonder if that's much or not.
someone came over to me yesterday, says, "I want to ask you a quiz question." So I already know that this guy is going to ask the question. Says a guy who's bar mitzvah on Yom Tov Sheini, could he daven for the Amid? So I said 100% on Yom Tov Sheini. So the guy who's asked this question is a mechaber of many svarim. He's not a stupid guy. So I said 100%. It's not a question. What's his question?
Maybe he's not by mitzvah yet.
Why? He was born
You might
on...
have shot either it's not Yom Tov or it's not his birthday.
Got that? What?
That's already Kavua. It's Yom Tov.
It's Tes Zayin Nisan. If it's Tes Zayin Nisan, we should not be saying the same thing Pachtacha, right? Right? We should not be saying Vatitan Lana Shalokein, right?
But we did count Sfira.
But we did count Sfira. So there are many answers to Sfira. Did you just ask another question? Or did you answer?
Saying it's enough.
So you have to know the answer to the question. You have to know which one is the question. Which one is the question? Okay? And we'll leave you hanging with this. I think I answered him fairly well on the question, but I appreciated the question. It's like a brain teaser kind of a question. All right. Anyway, so this is this idea over here. Achron is Yom Chol. What Rabbanan? It's Chol. The Rabbanan said we have a minhag I would say to B'Yodeinu to treat it like Yom Tov. You call America on Yom Tov Sheini, Shagolius? You don't, right? Because the people on the other side, it's Yom Tov for them. But you know it's not Yom Tov, right? They also know it's not Yom Tov. So why were they cooking on Chol Hamoed for that day? They're cooking for a Yom Chol. But you can't be over on Issa D'Oraisa to cook on Yom Tov for Yom Chol. This is okay. This is the question.
I'm cooking for Sunday.
Right. It happens to be you're faking it as Yom Tov. It's just that telling you this bar mitzvah story, right? Right. No, it's what day is it? Would the real day please stand up? Right? Is it a Yom Chol or is it or is it Yom Kodesh? So we know that it's a Yom Chol. It really is a Yom Chol. So how are you allowed to cook on Yom Tov, on Chol Hamoed for that day? That's the question. What? They're not allowed to do anyways. You're talking not allowed to. You're not allowed to cook from Yom Tov to Chaverte. But Kol Shekain, right, for Yom Chol. So there's a question which I think that people call this a vexing question. It bothers you, but you understand that it's not a question, right? You understand it's not a question? You may not know the answer. Now I'm going to ask you a different question.
It's a feeling like that some of it is for the seventh day.
Yeah, okay, let's ask you a different question. What about Mitzvah Tavlinin?
I could make a Shevi'is kasa.
Clearly, the rabbis wiped them all away.
Nobody's knowing to wear tefillin kutzos on the second day of Yom Tov.
That was the question. Well said, but you're absolutely no help, right? So it possibly could be it's a Sheval Taisa. Could be.
Well, shofar on Shabbos is the right thing.
There are things that are because of Sheval Taisa. So there are different reasons, different things. So Shlomo Zalman answers this question, and he says that was part of the Gzeres Chazal that we treat it like Yom Tov Chazal. That's not the question's wrong.
It meant to wipe it. What they're making is like they meant to do with.
Yeah. Just Rabbi Kiva throws you off because he makes a big deal. You even allowed to do a malacha. That Ki'ilu, not that Rabbi Kiva disagrees with this concept. Anyways, that's the fascinating part of this. Although, let's go back.
That's the answer to us.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to get a Mishnah Berurah over here. It's not muchach that you're buying a suit for after Yom Tov. I mean for Yom Tov. V'asu lemichshir day shalochal l'tzarchol v'lochein boy betzina. Because of poiskim, the dafo moichim ha'kavuim she'amnosam l'kach chol hashana boy betzina. Only those who are open all the time. Ava balbayis hamoichel l'tzarch hamoyed lo boy betzina. There's some people that have a seasonal sale. In other words, I'm going to just use this as an example. I sell Hadassah. Can I be open on Chol Hamoed? Mistaber? Is that the reason why? For that could be you could do it after do Betzina.
It's sort of the chag itself.
Nobody buys Hadassah in Cheshvan. Right? It's muchach that's Chol Hamoed. Right? Now, if there are people, and there are people who do this, they get a shipment before Yom Tov of clothing from America, and they sell them before Yom Tov. So, they're not in the business. They only make these pre-Yom Tov sales. So there, it's permissible. Why? Because their whole business is a Yom Tov business. So there, it's muchach that's what you're selling it for.
If you have leftover inventory on the third day, on the first day of Chol Hamoed, they could continue to sell.
Correct. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Even though it's left over, they're going to sell it after Yom Tov.
The answer to that question is yes, but you misrepresented the halacha. The question is, when people see that they're selling, why are they going to think that they're selling? Are they selling because they always sell, or they're selling because it's Yom Tov time? That's the question. We're not right now discussing whether you're allowed to buy for after Yom Tov. That wasn't the question. The question was, when I see this guy who has a seasonal sale that he's selling on Chol Hamoed, so I understand that he's selling for Yom Tov. That's
just leftover. It's not selling for Yom Tov. He just wants to be done and everything and complete it. So
that's also true, but the whole hefts of his sale is a Yom Tov sale. And you want to, excuse me. And the guy who's selling a dasim, why does he sell them? He would have been happy if he got rid of them all.
That's what I'm saying. But after Sukkot, it's over. Here, he has schayra, and until the schayra is over, he's going to continue selling.
That's true.
But it's not a Chol Hamoed thing. It's I have extra clothing, so
I don't think so. I don't think so. B'chol. Not only that. I think that people are going to buy it. They're going to use it on the moed. That's you're selling. That's what you're selling.
It's like that people are gluten free. They'll buy all the soup nuts before Pesach for the year. It's theoretically they're selling it for Pesach because that's when the big market is, but people not necessarily.
Yeah.
I just want to make I want to make the defining line clear. The question is not why the person is selling it and why the person is buying it. The question is, what does the onlooker see? That's the question. I'm not right now discussing the intent of the people in the store. They have to have proper intent too. That could be, but that's not the subject. The subject is when you see it, what do you see? And that's what the Mishnah Berurah says. It's not a clothing store.
I understand.
No, it's not a clothing store.
He sees that they had leftover clothing, so he's open until he's done. But it's not for Yom Tov.
Of course, it's for Yom Tov. Of course, it's for Yom Tov.
That's why after Yom Tov you see all the advertisements, sale on leftover Yom Tov.
לא חושב שזה סותר what we're saying at all. Where was I? דווקא אומר לך כפור משם נוסו מכך כל השנה בוי בצינו. אבל בעל הבית המויכל לצורך המועד לא בוי צינו because that's what he's selling for. That's what's מובן מאליו. לא במבוי רצון אליו ואין מפולש. דילו מפולש הוא בכלל שהוא סרב, everybody sees it, a lot of persomet. נו הלחס דווקא בזה, אבל שרתו אפילו יש בפסח החנוס והחנוס סגורה והדלת פסוחה אוסר. If it's not something which has a moyed usage to it, even if everything is closed, just stand there waiting for customers to come in and then you're going to open it, then you're not allowed to do it. Shalchag Sukkos, the leading later shuk bepeiros, they ain't so crack by Yom Tov Achron Shalchag, which we call which we got says to regular b'fnei atzmei. Masha enke by Yom Tov Achron Shal Pesach, they bo mitzvah ater, aval inyan limkor before Hesya, ar by Yom Tov Achron Shal Pesach shari b'fnei kovid Yom Tov. Anything which is move on the kovid Yom Tov. Umoter the loyde have kiwan the ono b'kiyim the yarcha havi kechol u'meiche b'chol amoy lechol the aser kamash v'lo the shari ki heche the lo lezalzel bay. They gave a heter so that Shalom is also there.
That was the same answer we gave.
Yeah. We just didn't say why there was. They said that was part of the Gezerah. Okay. Ein loichem botim avonim avodim ubehema letzorach hamoyin oy letzorach hamoicher she'en lo malecho oy letzorach hasocher shemalach dvorim niknin she'en lo malecho. You can't do these things. V'davka hani deika pirsum b'kniyosam v'av shemilsam. When you're going to buy these things, everybody knows about it. So you were just, I'm pressed to say the words, you were mechalel the moyed. Everybody knows that you were buying and selling things. In other words, you bought, call it big ticket items. I don't know what you call that exactly. Whatever. These are things which everybody knows about. So therefore, you're not allowed to buy them, even though you're doing it for the bite. If you need them for Yom Tov. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Yesh oimrim the mutter likras bottom mesoros ukrom v'avodim v'hema b'nei shu k'matzum miyodom. And a special hatter. Chol Hamoed dahainu bottom lodor v'avodim l'sakei koisloi kilo kamok tafmun v'avodim l'shamshoy. These are things that you're going to be using them.
The Americans come over to Eretz Yisrael during one of the circus of Pesach. They shouldn't be buying, it's a good time for them to look around and buy apartments. If that's what they're interested in, they shouldn't do that.
I have a friend of mine whose wife is a real estate agent, and she's asked me this question about twice a year. Yeah. I would say as follows: there are two different things. First of all, I can't even believe you asked such a silly question. What did you say with us? I saw a dira. I want to buy it on Chol Hamoed. When is that sale going to happen? Right? So we're talking about the buying. Ika Pirsum. To see the dira, that is no Pirsum.
No, but they see it and they sign a letter of intent.
I don't know if the letter of intent, and the letter of intent doesn't usually sign. What usually happens, and this is the person that I've dealt with on many times on Chol Hamoed, is a question about showing people apartments. No, it's from when you start showing a person an apartment till they're willing to sign. If you can do that over one Chol Hamoed, yeah, I would like to use you as my real estate agent. It ain't happening. It's not a real situation. What could happen is that they already saw beforehand, and they're already in litigation for 3 weeks beforehand, and now they want to sign. That could be. In that situation,
And Chutzpah, they contact, they said, you have these apartments to look at. I'll be there Chol Hamoed. So they're primed to buy it.
that's called Mechavan Lasus Malachta Moed. That's a wonderful example. Now there's a question on this question in particular about if buying karka in Eretz Yisrael is called a mitzvah and you're allowed to do it. What? Even on Shabbos from a goy, but that's only dafka from a goy and not from a yid, and because of Yeshiva Eretz Yisrael, that's a whole sugya unto itself about buying karka in Eretz Yisrael. But this question, let's leave the Eretz Yisrael part out of it. This could be in Monsey, New York, and that's not Eretz Yisrael according to most poskim, right? but the gufo, usually there are ways to work it out, and you have that situation. Okay, we'll stop over here.